I'm always going to do a quick demo, just so you guys know what the heck you're looking at. So, thermal imaging. So this is the real deal. This is a FLIR thermal imaging camera. This is what firemen would use to actually help save people. So, like, this is the real deal. Like, this is not a phone app. I know it's attached to a phone, but again, that's the way it's designed to be attached to specific types of phones. But obviously you can see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy. So that means I'm the warmest thing inside in the frame right now. So obviously this is set up to white, hot, black, cold. We're looking for blue and black to either start taking shape on their own or to start moving on their own. So there's always going to be blue and black in there as long as we have a person in view. So it kind of gives us that array of color on there. The other cool thing is about this camera is I have it set up with a blue dot bouncing around the screen. You can probably see it if you really stare at it. The blue dot is there to help you see where the coldest spot is in the frame at that particular moment. We're looking for cold spots, so we want to identify those pieces. It does give us the temperature as well. I also keep track of all of the weather and the moon phases and all that stuff. It'll be in your analysis tomorrow morning. But the ambient temperature is also just off to the center there. That kind of shows us, like, hey, we can measure anything we want to just by moving the camera around. So, but I kind of take into consideration, like, hey, this says that it's 65 degrees out here. That means I'm looking for things 49 degrees and lower to be kind of considered a paranormal experience, evidence of some sort. So, I'm going to stop the recording.
Adrian, do you want me to come near you and you listen to it with me?
Sure. Let's see.
That way you can catch something I don't.
So I have a couple things that are light, but I like it. So first thing I have is manor, which is like a house manor. So I don't know if this would have, like, I call it a mansion because it was pretty large size.
It was huge.
I also have the word. It's weird. I don't know what 9 is, but I do like the word newspaper here. The reason why is we've been getting certain terms, and I normally don't even bring this up until I see a clue about it. Henry Lawrence Pinckney is also obviously in the lineage of Eliza, and we've been getting a lot of clues around Henry lately. So we've been getting his name, but the funny thing is that he was the editor for the newspaper called the Mercury. So I have the word newspaper right now, and the number 9. So I don't know if 9 is relevant to something on his birth date, his death date, how many years he worked with the paper. I don't know. So I don't have all of his things down pat yet because we haven't been getting a ton, but we've been getting some where I'm like, we have Henry and we have the name Lauren. His name was Henry Lawrence Pinckney, so he is the great nephew of Eliza. So we're talking like 60, 70 years later. But I'm excited about those just because they're first like things popping up. But the number 9, and I also have the word score. We're still near Big John's.
Yeah.
I call that a bleed over. Again, when you're in a space like Charleston, you're gonna have bleed over. So once we leave this space, we're gonna be going like 3 blocks away, and we're gonna obviously not have anything from the Pinckneys for a while until we get near some of the cemetery grounds and that kind of thing. But I don't expect anything coming straight from Eliza away from here. We're gonna see bleed over at the last 3 stops, but these 2 stops definitely bleed over to each other. So I don't know what's gonna come out of this. Who the hell is Nancy? I don't know who Nancy is. Are you hearing anything? What do you want to know first?
I don't know.
What do you want to know first?
Yeah, you pick.
How old she was when she died.
Perfect. Eliza. I have with me Audrey and Adrian. That's hard to say together, by the way. I just wanted to let you know that. We want to know how old you were when you passed away. Or if you want to give us the year, that would help too. You know how to use all these boxes in my hand. 2.9 and 0. That's what we call, like, ghost hunting, because they don't stand still. So that's exciting. Like, I'm getting little blips, but the 2.9 is pretty. I don't know who Nancy is, but I need to write down 2.9 before I forget it. See why I wear cargo pants? I have to carry shit all over the place all the time. By the way, is this what you guys thought you were going to be getting yourselves into?
Yes. That's what I wanted to get myself into. I'm fine with history tours, but
Well,
my grandpa, before he passed, he was very much into history. So I know a ton from him, and I don't really need many more tours about
fair enough.
general history.
Well, when I designed it, it was a matter of, like, how do I change... Just hit my toe. Like, literally just hit my toe. I don't know what the hell that was.
Is that a thing to feel like physical stuff?
It depends. I honestly never, I try not to, unless something is really, like, out of the norm for me. Because you gotta imagine, I do this all the time. So I've been to different locations, not just where we're going. So I don't put any of my thoughts or feelings into things. Even if I'm not feeling well, unless it's devastating, I don't even bring it up. So I don't want to scare people. I mean, that's just like your tour guide's going to pass out and you have no idea where the hell you are. Like,
Yeah.
That's not going to be the person that I'm going to be. Eliza, we're still waiting on that number. She might just be waiting for the right opportunity for the DJ to say it. But at the same token, if somebody feels something, I can't prove it. Everything I use is electronic. Everything. I used to work with a psychic. He was fantastic, but I trusted him. I verified him myself.
Yeah.
I get psychics on the tour all the time, just so you know. Can I debunk most of them? Yeah, I can. So I get more people that say, like, will tell me later on that they heard something. They're like, is this word relevant? I thought I heard this. And I had a 16-year-old girl on the tour a couple weeks ago. She was telling me shit that she wasn't hearing through the spirit box. She heard it in her head, and it was relevant to the space.
Oh no! Oh
like
god!
She was good. Like, she doesn't know she has the talent, and I didn't know if I was in the right place to be able to tell Mom, like, you need to tell her to go work with somebody.
Yeah.
To hone this in. Like, she knows things that she doesn't know. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, touching and feeling. Something touched my bag. Something touched my purse. I can't prove it. Not unless it's on film.
Mm-hmm.
So, do I have people to claim to have a scratch here and there? Or I've been pushed? Yeah. All the time. 3.8. That's a good number, too. So, starting off slow, because I'm going to tell you more about this as we kind of go through.
I said, look at me. Did you hear that?
I did.
Alright, so 3.8, and look at me. Eliza, we'd love to look at you. I want you to tell us how old you were when you passed away, or anything else about your death that you already know I'm going to ask. Where did you pass away? What did you die from? And which president took you to your grave? Let's do kind of a little quick slow walk, kind of see what we
Did it
get.
just scream 5 at us?
It did.
That is not how many children she had, by the way.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't know what that would have anything to do with. What's that?
What's funny is, like, even back here, like, I'll get things like names and, you know, things that a lot of people want to know about the slaves that she had.
Mm-hmm.
I can't prove any of it. I can't prove their names. I can't prove
Yeah.
how many. I can't prove their jobs. Like, I'll get James Cook. I don't know if James was the cook or not. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I tell people, just don't ask anything about the slaves because I can't prove any of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not that I'm, you know, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything. It's like,
I mean, they didn't report it because they didn't respect them, so it's not there.
We just know that the Pinckney family had a lot of them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, it's not an easy job, is it?
I also have ADHD, so this is tearing me around.
Check the word list real quick. Eliza, maybe you want to tell us something else. Most of that bullshit at this point. Eliza, why don't you tell us what happened to your beautiful house here? Eliza, I know we're not standing where your house was, but you want to tell us what happened to it? Why it's not here anymore? Got a nice small group for us tonight. There are some nights where I have groups that are just very disrespectful, so the next night I actually come back before the tour and kind of say my piece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've gotten nasty messages out of here before. Like, disembodied voices that were not radio chatter. Like just leave us alone, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We would never come out here and do that. That's insane.
But, I mean, what I'll do is, I'll just find, like, one of these benches, and I'll just turn on a spirit box next to me, and just kind of say my piece. You know, just apologize for the group that was here prior. You know, they know I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but
Yeah, I don't know why you'd go on this and then do that.
you'd be surprised. To be honest with you, I had to raise my ticket prices about 4 times to get all the hecklers to stop coming.
Oh.
So, like the price that you guys paid, that's a relatively newer price.
I
in
thought
the
it was a good
estimates.
price anyways for what we're doing.
Well, I started off with, I think it was $20 a ticket 3 years
Oh.
ago. So, I mean, it has evolved. Obviously, different equipment. I updated everything. We're working with like $3,500 worth of gear. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff costs money. I gotta make a living. I gotta eat. So, my wife said, because I was bitching about all the hecklers, because I would get the husband that didn't want to be here, but all this was a joke, and all he wants to do is heckle me all night long. She's like, raise the ticket prices. Because nobody's going to come and heckle you. They might come for shits and giggles, but I also walk away if somebody's too high or drunk to stand up. Like, again, $3,500 worth of gear, that's my livelihood.
Yeah.
I don't need some drunk guy walking around with a $400 camera. You know, and that's just the attachment. You know, waiting to drop it. So,
Yeah.
I'm not getting much out of this. Are you getting anything?
Did you hear anything?
Nope.
All right, Eliza, I'm going to wrap this one up early just because it doesn't seem like you want to chit-chat with us tonight. There are a couple of little small spikes. Not super exciting. The normal spike for this guy in this location is about 18 to 22.
Oh, wow.
So, now, let me, again, put that in perspective. Behind your TV, you give it off about 40 to 60. So we had like a 3.9 at the 3.8. I wrote it down exact, so kind of have the gist. It's very minimal for this location. There's no electricity here. That's what it's measuring, electricity in the air. Your running microwave, if you're standing next to this guy and you have this standing next to it, about 150 to 170. The highest I've ever seen this go has been here, 214.
Oh, wow.
We left.
214? Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, I have epilepsy.
Okay.
I'm not messing around with, I have a neurological disorder.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mess around with high electricity in the air.
Yeah.
And it was something I saw. It wasn't something that I had to take the word for. Like, I was teaching somebody how to use it because this is the space I do it in, and it went to 214 right in the dead center of the lot. I'm like, we got to go. I'm not playing with this.
Yeah.
So, but that's basically what this guy's measuring is the electricity in the air. Let's kind of go through those answers real quick. You can stop your video and give your hands a rest if you want.
No, I'm fine.
Up to you. Okay. But when we leave this space, we're definitely going to turn it off because we're going to be walking up East Bay Street.
Yeah.
Again, no point to be filming people's butts. We're going to be walking behind people and whatever. Now, answers. First thing when I break out the tablet, I don't always do it, but I always like to kind of give you the mugshot of the person you're trying to hunt down. So, Eliza Lucas Pinckney. This is the woman we are trying to speak to. The reason why I use her maiden name, do you know why we use her maiden name? This is the second wife named Eliza from Charles. Oh. Back to back.
I knew he had a first wife. I didn't know her name.
Oh, yeah. Here's where it gets even funnier. The first wife, Eliza Lamb Pinckney, dies in January of 1744. 5 months later, he marries this one after his first wife's death. And she was a friend of the family. Like, Eliza Lamb was one of her cohorts. Like, they were girlfriends. Yeah. How strange is that?
Could that be too far of a stretch since it said 5 to us? Since it was 5 months apart?
Not necessarily. I would probably look for the dates, like the months at least,
yeah.
So like January to May. So if we had the word May, like, he may come over, even that would work. So if you had 5 and then May, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And it might even be their exact wedding anniversary date. So, again, I don't know that one off the top of my head. It doesn't come up very often. But you also have to remember that your spirit box is way slowed down. So what color is the big red barn? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
Yeah.
I don't need Rudolph the nosed reindeer. So, again, just kind of making that point of, like, if you hear, welcome to Charleston, I'm going to throw out Charleston and take the welcome. The mansion, this is the only photo that we have of the mansion. This is after the Great Fire of 1861. This is fire damage you're looking at. So, this took place on December 11th. So if we get the term fire, blaze, candle, flame, you're getting the gist. We also get 12, 11, and 61 in the same evening. Not necessarily consecutive, but those are very specific numbers. It's not like 5, 10, 15. Very easy to roll off the tongue. We're talking 3 different intervals that will actually pop up. Now, every tour is going to tell you about a great fire that happened down here. I'm sure you've read up on some of the fires we've had because we've had dozens. That's why we're walking through Charleston, and I call it one giant cemetery. This is the fire that took out the mansion.
Holy, okay, I didn't know it was that big.
This is where you're standing, the little tiny green dot right there. So it started at the Harris Teeter. up here.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing is somebody told me the other night that they heard it was a fish fry from some homeless people. I'm like, yeah, I'm not buying that. But I heard that it was homeless people that were just trying to stay warm. It's December. So as they're staying warm, the fire gets out of hand, and it actually comes down this way, did that damage I just showed you, and then went literally to the other side of the peninsula.
Yeah, that's crazy.
A giant fire. $5 to $9 million worth of damage in 1861.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell that translates to today, because I'm sure inflation changed again. Yeah. That was a joke. You guys can joke.
I'm just amazed at how big the fire was. I didn't know it was that large.
Yeah, we've actually had quite a few that have been that big, but this is one of the biggest, like one of the biggest that's actually occurred here. So and I want to say that 1861 actually had 2 fires. I think there was another one in July. So that year was pretty dreadful for a lot of people. The children, there were 4 of them, not 5. Charles, we already know about, signer of the Constitution, right? Kind of boring. He could sign a piece of paper, but he was also a politician, but I hate politics. But the next child was Thomas. He fought in a Revolutionary War battle, the Battle of Camden, that's southwest of here. So if you're from South Carolina, that probably rings a bell. He was shot in his left leg and captured by the British. When he was released, he was actually left on a cane the rest of his days. We didn't get anything relative to Thomas tonight, but I will tell you, we get left, we get leg, we get... the other night I had limit leg, like as a phrase, 2 words back to back on my word list. I'm like, oh, that's good. Like, I like that one. But all the paintings after him, sorry, my nose is itchy. All the paintings of him afterwards, he always has a cane across his lap, and his left leg is in the back. So the painting would be this way. So that way he's kind of hiding whatever damage he had. The next child is the one I asked us not to poke the bear with. This is baby George. You already see where that one's going, right? George didn't make it. He was an infant. Weird thing about George is that he doesn't have a grave or a headstone. Here's why. It's a great possibility, don't take this as gospel, that they would have mummified this child and kept him right here in the home, waiting for his mother to pass away so that way he could be buried with her. It was common practice back then. His death certificate has the same month and year in the birthday and death column, so June of 1747. We don't know if he was days old or weeks old. My guess is that he was probably weeks old because you weren't named until you were christened in colonial times. So that's a great possibility there. It's going to get even more weird when we talk about Eliza's death, but one more child. Harriet. She actually married Daniel Aubrey. Myrtle Beach is Horry County. That gives you an idea of where she lived. So, wouldn't have been a 2.5-hour car ride for Eliza. Lots of letter writing back and forth. If Harriet shows up here, very seldom, we do get words like ink, quill, paper, ink, those kind of things. It's very seldom, but when Harriet's name does show up, that's the kind of terms that we normally get that are relative to her. Eliza's death, she was... Is that my shadow way up there? No, there's no way. I'm looking at that glass, and it's just the angle that I'm looking at, like the window up there. Mm-hmm. It looks like me standing there. I'm like, there's no way it's that clear. It's got to be a TV across or something. Yeah, it has to be a TV. I'm going to start watching a TV, and I'm staring into somebody's living room. Cool. She was 70 when she passed away. That's a long time for a colonial woman to be living, first off. That was 1793 when she passed away. She was going to Philadelphia, getting treatments for whatever they thought she had. Turned out to be breast cancer. We didn't know what the hell breast cancer was in 1793. We're going based off her medical records now. Just kind of keep that in the back of your pocket. She's buried in Philadelphia because she died in Philadelphia. 2 questions that should be raised right now in the back of your head. If she's up there, what the hell are we doing here? Why don't I actually take you to cemeteries? You're not going to hang out near your grave when you're gone. You're going to go to your mansion 400 miles away. Yeah. Which is exactly why I chose the spaces that I did. This is normally a lot more active. This is really light, by the way. Like, I'm almost disappointed because you missed some things, and we don't have enough equipment for me to say, what did you hear, to kind of compare. Yeah. So, again, it's not a big deal because, again, we never know what's going to pop up tomorrow morning. Baby George is the other weird question about Eliza's death. If my theory's true, because you can't Google mummied baby, by the way, and not expect a phone call from the government or somebody studying law, if they would have transported this child from here as a mummy all the way to Philadelphia by horse and carriage, that's a long trek. So, just kind of a creepy thought. You know, think about it. Take a stab in the dark at who the president was. That was the pallbearer. 1793.
Would it not be? Oh, I'm trying to think. It would be the second one, wouldn't it?
Tell me.
God, what was the second one? I forgot.
I have no idea. I'm so bad at history.
Adams was the second one, but that's not the right answer.
Oh.
It's good that you can't give me the answer. Let me explain. It's George Washington.
Oh.
At his own request, wanted to pay homage to her for her indigo that helped get the country started. He knew the Pinckneys because, let's face it, he only had 13 colonies. He knew his governors well. Pinckneys were always a governor. They were always in office. So when I got here with you guys, I told you that I'm not going to give you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse. I do that on purpose, subliminally putting George Washington in the back of your brains, waiting to see who's going to spit off that answer. You passed with a fail because you tried to do it by deductive reasoning, and it didn't work out because you gave me the wrong answer. That's a good thing. So, again, I normally test my groups every single night like this, just because I want to make sure they're not just going to be repeating of things they hear of what I just said. So again, that's why I withhold information, but I do that one trick. Again, sorry, master's degree in writing, I get one. But again, it's how do I put this? It's kind of cruel that I do that, but at the same time, you now understand that I have 6 different spirit boxes and communication devices in my bag, and I don't know what you're listening to until tomorrow morning. Yeah. So I can't prove that you heard George Washington. But I will tell you, that's exactly how I learned about that bit, was we had the name George Washington show up twice in the same week. I'm like, there's got to be a tie. There has to be. So I did my research, boom, there it is. I'm like, that's a great question to be asking. So, because George Washington has a lot to come out of a spirit box. First off, who the hell's talking about Washington on the radio?
Yeah.
Like, that's a weird bit, right? Especially twice in 1 week. Yeah, that was weird. So, this space is intelligent. Normally we can ask questions, get answers. That obviously didn't happen for us in real time. Hopefully we got the answers on, our devices, as I'm going through the data the next day. It says finished. That's so funny.
Oh, okay.
I'm still excited about newspaper, and it's calling you a tourist. So, see, that's why we actually have it. It's fun.
I mean, that is funny.
Next space we're going to is a residual ghost. It doesn't work this way at all. I'll explain more about it once we get in there, but I want you guys listening in for names. I'll try not to be so chatty and let you guys listen in. It's very hard to do when I have such a small group because somebody always wants to stand next to me as we're walking. You can stop recording. Because, again, we're going to be going up to Lodge Alley. That's about 3 blocks from here. I'm also not going to be using the... and you can be a little bit more casual if you want to. You don't have to be, super...
I know, you're, in it.
Like the viewfinder. So, what is this place? This used to be... Well, I guess let me explain the location of it. When we crossed the last crosswalk, that's where the Charlestown walls used to be. So this wasn't Charleston yet. It was called Charlestown. Mm-hmm. So, named after King Charles. Now, we're standing on one of the first streets we ever had, which is why I bring you here. Normally, I ask you guys for names, and every 6 to 7 weeks, you guys tell me the same names. I don't tell you what they are. You tell them to me when we're in here. Those names are normally Benjamin and John. Benjamin and John, when I say I have the full list of residents, it's not a long list. Only 2 to 5 people live down here at a time. These 2 buildings weren't here. It's little tiny shotgun houses kind of spread out. But Benjamin and John both lived here at the same time, 1801. John likes to give us his last name because there were 4 different Johns that lived down here during that 60-year time span where there was people living here. John's last name is Johnson. So we will get John, Johnson, and Benjamin all in the same night. Benjamin's last name was Hopkins. We haven't had anything relevant to Hopkins ever, but we will get John Johnson. I don't find it coincidence that every 6 to 7 weeks, you guys are telling me the exact same names. So lately on your analysis, when I'm giving it back to you, I'm watching moon phases, the weather, what devices were used, those kind of things. Just to see if, when we do get those names, what were the conditions? What's going to happen on the next set. I haven't been able to pinpoint it yet. We're in week, what's today? Thursday, so we're still in week 2 of that loop, because I do keep track of the loop. So we're in week 2. I wasn't expecting you to hear Benjamin and John. I'll still be looking for it when I'm going through the data tomorrow when I'm spot checking, because we're not going to spend a lot of time here. The other reason why we're here is because this is why it's happening, by the way. It's called the stone tape theory. It's a paranormal theory. Here's how it goes. The bricks you're standing on have been here since 1739 that we know of. The historians don't even know for sure. These are made of granite. Now, granite is not supposed to have an electrical charge to it, so I am going to measure the bricks to see if we're getting an electrical charge from them. But the other piece of this is that any natural stone, like granite, that's been in the same place for a long period of time, like a few hundred years, it is said that they hang on to the memories of the things that occurred here. It's just repeating on a loop. It's a residual ghost. Almost like they don't know we're here, but we're getting their voices and things like that, or messages from DJs and song lyrics. So again, it's not coincidence I keep getting those same names over and over and over again. And every once in a while we'll get a third name, and that third name is Jane. That's not a common name anymore. So again, that's a third person out of 5 that lived here in 1801. I have nothing else significant about these people other than why it's happening. The other thing I like to bring people down here for is because with those red spirit boxes, again, I use 2 when I have my full group. As we enter, often enough, somebody will hear the word Illuminati. Here's the reason why. This is called Lodge Alley. It is named after the Masonic Lodge from the Freemasons that was here before people lived here. So that's why it's called Lodge Alley. The word Illuminati obviously connects, but that is before anybody knows anything about the Freemasons being here. And the second thing is who the hell is talking about the Illuminati on the radio? Like, that's a big question for me. 6 times last year, 3 times this year. I verified every single one of them. Time frame, we've gotten term founding fathers here. We get symbols, Mason, brick, anything relative to the Freemasons. So I'm still waiting for, like, the compass, and there's another part of that symbol that I can't remember.
My dad has a whole tattoo of it. He's a Mason. He's got a whole sleeve of all the symbols. Okay. I would recognize it if I saw it. I can't name it.
I can't remember the name of it either. But I've never gotten any of those things, so... but again, this is a weird space. So, again, we don't spend a lot of time here, but it does kind of lay out the rest of the lay of the land of where we're going. I am going to do a quick measurement on the bricks just to see if we get anything. I would expect up to 1.1 because that's natural for the earth. So, anything above that, I'm going to be, all right, that's kind of exciting. I've seen it go all the way to 15. Here, you pick a brick. It's going to make it look like I staged it.
How do I aim it?
Literally...
Just point it at it?
I want you to point, like, literally put it on the ground.
On the ground?
Yeah. Pick any brick.
Oh.
Okay. 4.2. 4. That's actually a decent number. That's higher than what we got the other night.
Sure.
You pick a brick. You get a brick.
That's very
get a brick. But, again, granite does not have an electrical charge to it.
Mine's not special.
Oh, you didn't get a special brick.
Apparently not. But I like 4.4. So, when I do see like anything in like the 8, 9, 10s, that's when I get a little bit more excited. But again, I don't usually expect anything out of this week out of the loop. So it's usually week 5 where we start getting those higher numbers. It's the weirdest thing. Unexplainable at this point because the stone tape theory hasn't been fully proven yet. But the amount of data that I'm getting out of this place, hopefully one day I'll be able to actually prove it.
That'd be cool.
I've mentioned that to you before.
What, the stone
I
tape
haven't
theory?
listened.
I didn't know the name of it. I just said, like, I feel like things, like the history lives in places and it just repeats.
And it's usually based on the location. So like old castles that have been there hundreds of years, what do you think those bricks are made out of? Usually granite.
Yeah.
So that's a stone natural from the earth. And again, when you break apart like a magnetite, which is basically a magnet, it gives off an electrical charge. So an EMF would see a spike if you were to break it in half with a hammer or something like that. Quartz does the same thing. So if you break apart quartz, it's going to have a little bit of a reading when you go up to it naturally, but if you break it, it's going to release energy, and that's where you get the spike from. So we're probably going anywhere between like 4 to 8. You break it apart, it's going to go to 12 to 16. So again, I study all this shit because I need to make sense of what's going on in our locations. We're going to go to another alley, and it's kind of a staple for Charleston, so we're going to start running into the other tours. Just keep in mind, we are allowed to go to 20 people. I don't go to 20. I think I told you I only go to 10. But we just stay out of their way. We're a nice small group. We're just going to pick our corners when we start going to these next couple of places and kind of see where we're going. Now, the next alley, I can't take you all the way through like this one because I've been kicked out of it. Yeah, that's the fun part. You guys have, you got to imagine, I have laser lights and blinkies and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
I'll explain why I got kicked out of there because it's actually relevant to the next space after that, which will be the big finale of investigation part of the night. But as we exit the alley, you'll stop your recording when we get to the street, just because we don't record houses, just the same way we don't record cars. We're cutting through a neighborhood to get to the next alley.
Okay.
So continue listening in. Let me know what you find. I'm keeping an eye on this guy, Symptom.
Oh.
I got the word paint. I don't know if that's going to be something relevant, if they found some like paint chips or something during their archaeological dig here. That would make... Oh, I got the word improvement. We'll see. Again, very vague stuff. Like, again, I'm not super excited about anything yet. We've actually been pretty light. But we've also been chatting, so you're probably missing a shit ton that you just don't realize.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and listen to it when I'm in
after my
dead
spot
silence.
check, yeah, I put in earbuds. My office door gets closed. The dogs are in there. Everybody knows, leave Dad and the dogs alone. He's listening to a Spirit Box recording.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the mentality in the house. His dad's office is a bedroom, because I have my library and my birds and my dogs everywhere. Yeah. Everybody knows if Dad's door's shut, he's studying something.
Okay.
And now I'm starting another master's degree. The door's probably going to be shut a lot. So my daughter doesn't live with me. She lives in Myrtle Beach. So when she's down here, she knows my office is right next to her bedroom. Keep the music down, you know, that kind of thing. You're going to disturb the birds. You know, I have parakeets in my office just because it's nice to write to. I don't know if you have animals, but I'm an animal person.
I have a cat, and I love him dearly.
And your dog.
Yeah, but she's not with me.
Yeah.
She's with my parents. What'd you say?
What kind of dog do you have?
She's just some shelter dog. I don't know what breed she is. Australian Shepherd, Boxer, Pit Bull mix.
Okay.
Big dog. Very sweet girl.
If 3 miniature wiener dogs come up with the jokes, go
I
ahead.
love wiener dogs.
You love Wee.
I love wiener dogs.
Well,
He wants a Chihuahua really bad.
we just adopted a hospice. Like, so he's pretty old.
Uh-huh.
No one would take him, and he has no teeth.
Oh.
So all of my dogs are named after poets.
Uh-huh.
So my wife and I, it was an easy agreement on when we got him, because my wife's favorite Disney dog is Dante from Coco, because his tongue hangs out, and that's exactly what Dante has. His tongue hangs out all the time, and it was an easy pick for me because of Dante, who wrote the Divine Comedy. But my other two dogs are Byron and Emily. So I have Byron, Emily, and Dante. So Byron is my ESA, so he's usually with me unless I'm on the tours, but he's my ride or die. Like, that little guy, and he's pretty well trained, but with me handling things and all of that, like, he doesn't like people touching dad's stuff. So like, he would be barking and trying to nip at people, even though he'd be normally in a perfect sit, he would still be like jawing at you, like, I'm gonna eat your ankle. But he is well trained. Like, he knows my symptoms, he knows my signals. Like, he picked up on it. It wasn't something we trained him to do until later on, after we realized he was doing it. So
that's really cool.
So we called a dog trainer and worked with him really well. Sorry, I'm a dog person.
No, I was too, but my sister gave me a cat. So.
And my wife actually just started working for Banfield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's working on her master's degree in animal behavior.
Okay.
So she's probably going to get the vet tech license and then continue on, and she hasn't decided if she's going to go get her DVM or not. So, but I think that would be like super fantastic for me to be married to a doctor, and then I'm going to go work at the Historical Society. So, sorry, I'm giving you guys like my whole life story.
No, that's fine.
But yeah, dogs. That's all that goes on in my house. And lately it's been dogs and Assassin's Creed, because I can't stop playing the damn game.
The new one?
Odyssey.
Oh.
So I bought it like a year ago, and I finally like fixed my Sony account, and I took over the PlayStation, and my wife has stuck with her Switch like handheld instead of playing it on the TV. So we're big gamers, but I cannot. I've got 80 hours in this game in the past 2 weeks.
Oh my god.
And I'm only a third of the way through it.
Yeah, it's a big game.
Like, it is giant. Go ahead and stop your video for me.
Yeah.
You're just not going to record them because they didn't pay to get recorded. Yeah. This is probably the most picturesque place in all of Charleston. I don't care about Rainbow Row. I don't care about anything else. This, day or night, is gorgeous. So, one of my favorite places in Charleston, by the way. So, this place used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. We all talk about the same duel because we can all prove that it happened. I'm going to tell you the story a little bit differently, not a campfire ghost story, just because you're ghost hunting. So this is an active ghost, intelligent. We're not going to stand here and ask questions because, again, if other tourists start coming down here, we're just going to be in their way. So hopefully we're just going to stir a bunch of shit up, which is normally what happens. So here's how the story goes. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks that that the doctor is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor, send him away. So Dr. Ladd comes to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. As he's coming into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a good start to his stay here. But somebody was walking by, and his name is Ralph Isaacs. And I stopped on Ralph because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. R.I. I have a Ouija board box, like it's digital, that I just got. It's new to the market. I didn't bring it out tonight because it is too new for a group this size.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't give us a ton of activity yet. But even before it, because it has letters and a cursor, and EMF readings will make it go off. And it'll stop on that cursor and give you words, anagrams, or initials. You have to figure out what's going on. But anyway, even before I had that, we were getting the letters RI on different types of spirit boxes, including the word list, RI, in this location. So I'm like, is it Ralph Isaacs or is it Rhode Island? We need a secondary clue. But anyway, Ralph tells the doctor, dude, I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Don't go here. I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, and you'll be good to go. You can rent a room from them. Doctor takes him up on the offer. Him and Ralph become friends. The longer the doctor's staying here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He wasn't after Amanda's cash. So, Amanda's moving down soon. They're going to get married. Doctor's very happy. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Reason why is because he whistled all the time. It's the late 1700s. It's kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, campfire part of the story is that you can hear the whistles as you're in this alley. I'm going to talk more about that later. But Doctor and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. Just kind of the hierarchy of Charleston back then. It's like you two going to the movies and you can't sit next to her because she makes more money. She got a balcony seat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they talk about the plays on the way home. They go see Richard III one night from Shakespeare. They're arguing over the new actress. Dr. Ladd thought she was fantastic. Ralph, not so much. The argument gets really heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. They go their separate ways. Yeah, kind of a douchebag move, right? Gets even worse. Ralph has friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a disgrace to society mentality. Dr. Ladd sees the ad and he rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this shit once and for all. He didn't say shit because it's 1786. Now, they get down here, they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot his one shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. Courage and bravery to show up to the fight. That's often what happened at a duel. Ralph has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd doesn't die, but Ralph proved his point that he's still pissed off. Doctor falls to the ground, obviously in agonizing pain. His friends pick him up, carry him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. If you remember, he's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed out this bullet himself. So, again, we've gotten bleed out, bullet, kneecap, 59, Amanda, you name it. I mean, we get a shit ton of clues out of this location. Even at our last location that we're going to, which is 1 block away, there's a lot of bleed over from this space because it's almost like he couldn't get all the damn messaging out. Mm-hmm. There's extra things I'm not telling you to see if they're actually going to pop up in our spirit boxes. Again, it's not an important part of the dueling story, but it does pop up and it's relevant to his life. But again, the other ghost tours are going to tell you that you can hear the whistles as you go through here. If you're going to go through here without me, because I can't take you all the way to the end, I'll explain in just a moment. Turn on your voice recorders, listen to it later. See if you hear whistles in the background. Did you hear how quiet it is right now? Even on a Saturday afternoon, you cannot hear the hustle and bustle from East Bay Street from here. It's very quiet all the time. You hear air conditioners and little things run from these buildings, but that's about it. They also say you can hear gunshots. I don't have any proof of gunshots. I do have some very faint whistles of things that I can't prove or debunk of what they actually were of a person. But keep in mind, if you're going to do this, every person knows the story that's local. Now you do. So anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley every single time they walk by it. I'm one of those people. We're going to end up there. My garage is over here. So I have to pass the alley. When my 16-year-old daughter's on the tour, we race to see who's going to throw the whistle first. So it's just kind of a thing we do, especially since we got booted out of here. Here's how I got booted out. Here's the fun part. This alley didn't always go all the way through. So this used to be where they kept the livestock for the city. So it was kind of cut off on one end so that way they can herd them in on the other side. Now, those bricks down there are older. They're sun-dried bricks from slave children. We have a full handprint from a slave child and fingerprint swipes off to the left. Now, I tell you this because obviously you guys have probably realized I'm all about history, right? And I would take my groups all the way through here because the last location wasn't where we're going next. So, my group always wants to stop and take a look at that brick and try to get a reading from it. I treat that brick the exact same way I do a grave. That kid's not staring at that fucking brick in the afterlife. But, November 26th of 2020, my entire group of 10 decided to huddle around one brick trying to get a reading from it. EMF detection, spirit box, they're doing the whole 9. I'm trying to shoo them along because it's outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley.
Oh, God.
I'm out of bounds. I didn't fully realize, because I was still new at this, I didn't really realize what was going on. He saw us, and he came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at. She was about 13 at the time, maybe 14 at that point. So, the next day was Thanksgiving. I worked in retail management for over 20 years, mainly for Walmart. I'm never working another Thanksgiving in my life. The next day after that was November 28th, and I got a phone call asking me to go down halfway, which is what we're allowed to do, or to reroute my group somewhere else. I told my team it's not fair work 10 people around 20 to 60 that are normally down here and try to investigate a location. So we're going to go to a new place that I don't really believe in the story, but we're going to see what happens, and I'll tell you what little bit I do know about piracy. I'm a vampire guy. I don't know much about pirates. We'll see what happens. Before we left, a person with a spirit box heard the name Anne. I did not tell them we were going to be investigating the female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I went, oh shit, we might actually have something going on. We get down there, I told them a little bit of what I did know about pirates that day because I had to do some very quick research. Somebody else hears the number 300. I don't know what that means until I'm doing the research the next day, trying to find out more about this woman. We were there on November 28th of 2020, or 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I went, damn it. Now I gotta learn about pirates. I have read more books, watched more documentaries, played video games with pirates, like trying to learn more about her story, trying to piece together. You guys are all lucky I have a damn master's degree in creative writing. But putting together a story, a factual story out of pirate lore is very difficult. So everything we're going to be discussing at the next location has come from more than one resource. So kind of keep that in mind. I've only wanted things that I could prove by more than one person saying it. You guys get my point. I'm all about my resources. It is a hit or miss location. We're either going to have a shit ton going on or nothing going on. Based on our night so far, been really, really light. Like almost zil. So I haven't seen something this light in a long time. But you're probably missing a ton. So I'm going to see what I find in the morning. Have you heard anything since we've been chatting?
Just right after you talked about the duel, it said 10, and then like the next wavelength, the different voice said steps. So
I like steps.
That was pretty interesting.
So obviously steps are a big part of the dueling rules. There is a whole rule book about dueling that came over from England that we used to follow. So again, 10 steps, most people think it's 20. That's 20 apart. So it's 10 from each opponent. And again, if we get the number 10, you said did you have 10?
Yeah, 10, one voice, and then the next station was steps.
I like that a lot. It's about damn time. You guys aren't making me write down much.
I mean, there's probably a lot I'm missing, but I'm trying to listen to you at the same time. I know tomorrow I'm going to probably make you sit here and listen to all of this with me.
So normally when I'm going through like with my own investigations and I'm listening to the spirit box recording, because I run one slow, run another one really fast. So there's basically, and it's in a Faraday box, so there's no interference from the radio chatter at all. Faraday box takes out, like it interferes with the signal, so that way you're getting nothing but white noise. It takes me, for a 2-hour time frame, it'll take me probably 6 hours to go through the whole thing. Because if I hear something, I want to analyze it, especially out of the fast one, because the fast one should have like a like super fast, and I can put it in certain software and kind of see where the blips are, and if something comes through, I can see how many radio stations it went over, how many, basically the signals, how fast it was going. Like I analyze all of that shit. So if I hear something out of a white noise one versus that one, even that one still is going to take me about 6 hours, because I'm going to stop and verify it and kind of see. I'm going to be listening to the whole thing, not spot checking it. When I'm spot checking your data, for every 5 minutes of recording, I listen to 1 minute. Whatever I find, I find. So that way, I'm not taking all of the fun out of it. I'm giving you the first clues of like, hey, we heard Thomas. Look for left. Look for leg. Those kind of things. And I will always give you a link so you can learn more about that specific person or where I got that fact from. So if it says left leg, I will give you something that shows you that he got shot in his left leg during the Battle of Camden, if that makes sense. But again, you're gonna see all of the links that are scattered through your whole thing. It's gonna be a huge thing, even though we're using minimal devices tonight. Anything else come out of there besides 10 steps?
I did hear road at one point. Something mumbled before. I don't know what it said, but it could just be that it said road. But I just thought it was weird that we were here.
He's also from Rhode Island.
Oh, okay. I didn't like that at all. I forgot about that.
So even though you heard like street road, it's still the same enunciation.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it very well could have been Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I just heard road and I was like,
but if you heard just the word road,
yeah.
the word island, it might be somewhere else. You may have heard it beforehand and missed it.
Yeah.
It could be island road, but we still have road and island together, in the same location. So it could show up on my word list. Who knows? We're going to see what happens. All right, so you can continue recording through the rest of the evening if you want. So again, we're going to be in more apt places where there's going to be other tours. Oh, by the way, I always forget to do this. And I haven't been coming down here all the time, by the way. I've just been kind of sneaking in, a little bit here and there, but I was telling the story over there on that marching building, that white building, and everybody would kind of get their footage going this way as all the other tours were coming through. So I'd always say, be very discreet. They don't want to be filmed. This gate. Told you the alley didn't go all the way through. This was the shortcut to get over to the cemetery in the event that there was a loser to the duel.
Oh.
Otherwise, they'd have to carry the dead body all the way down to the end and go around the corner and bring them all the way back down around. So they made this shortcut to get over there. This actually belongs to St. Philip's now, so we're literally right on the edge of St. Philip's property. And even when we go over to the Powder Magazine, we're still going to be on St. Philip's property because we're going to the lot next to the Powder Magazine. So, yeah, if you see other groups, just be a little bit more discreet if you don't mind.
Okay.
People get weird, and we might it's weird. We had some tourism officers out last week, and I was kind of like, I've never seen them out this late. What the hell are they doing? So it was like, the filming thing could be a little touchy with them, so I was like, all right, guys, we're going to be sneaking around a little bit more. So I'm sorry that the evidence is light in real time.
I literally told him, I was like, I would be, like, more surprised if it was, like, a lot. Like, that would be problematic, if it was a lot of stuff showing up.
There's also, I guess the other point that is being proven out here is that kind of like just happens around you.
Yeah.
You just have to know how to look for it. And it's just, you can be listening to something, and it's kind of like what song is going to be next on the radio. That's something supernatural. Your brain tuned into something that was about to happen. So it's that same mentality. This whole corner, right here, is like Ghost Tour Central. Almost every ghost tour has to be there.
Huh?
Did you say?
Is it colder over here?
It is
Yeah.
cold.
When we were walking over here, I realized I was like getting very cold.
It was like 61 where we were.
Uh-huh.
Now this is the next on my bag.
What does it say on yours?
54, 51.
Look how pretty that is.
Yeah, this is normally like a normal picture stop for every tour that walks through here. Yeah, I'm reading 56.6. That's where it stopped.
Yeah.
So, seems like we're jiving. Oh, sorry, man. I kind of hit a button that went to units of Tesla instead of milliamps. I don't use Tesla. Tesla is there's two different ways you can measure electricity in the air. EMF, or milligauss, is the British, and that's what is used on the K2. So I like to make sure I have that same comparison on this location, or on this device, but it will switch over to units of Tesla, which is the American version. So it's kind of like metric versus US, you get it. But I always like to make sure, because I accidentally hit a button and go to Tesla. So, welcome to the Powder Magazine, but we're going to be discussing two different stories first. So every ghost tour around here, if you take one later on, you want to be cheesy and camping and drunk on them, they all go over to St. Philip's Church. There's two different sides to the cemetery of the church, by the way. We're on one side, which is on the other side of this wall, and then they're on the other side. That's the eastern side. That's for native Charlestonians only. So if you belong to the church and you're from here, like born here in Charleston, you can be buried over there. Otherwise, you're coming to this side. John Calhoun, your 7th vice president, is buried on the other side of this wall. So he's not from here. He just lived here for a very long time. So Again, they actually shuffled his ass back and forth trying to figure out where the hell he's supposed to go. There was an argument, but it is a sarcophagus. This side of the cemetery is usually open during the daytime till dusk, so that way you can actually go in and visit. Anytime there's a president or something, somebody of prominence like that, their cemetery, I think by law, has to stay open until for people to come visit and pay their respects. Now, they're all on the other side because there's a sign right inside the gate that reads, "There's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost." There's a reason for that. It's kind of a famous sign, like not just here in Charleston, but it is a famous sign in general. This is every ghost tour's like show and tell, and I let them have it. That's why I bring us over here. Unless it clears up over there, then we'll go over there and get some footage real quick, and then we'll end our night. But the reason why that sign is there, 1888, a young lady died by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Her initials, SHH, show up here all the time. It's cheesy, it's campy, but even on your end, I get a lot of teenagers that will put both earbuds in and not want to hear the history because they don't give a shit. And they're like, "Somebody just shushed me." That's happened twice.
Oh.
And that was after I had already told the story, but they didn't hear it. I had already moved on to pirates. And everyone just looks at her like, it's happened twice on my tours in the past 3 years. I'm like, okay then. But if I call Sue Susan, she will also correct me and put Sue somewhere on a spirit box. Anyway, she died 6 days after her stillborn child. Very sad story. They make it this big elaborate thing. But in 1987, a local photographer was taking pictures of all of our cemeteries, putting a book together. He captures a full apparition in one of his photographs. Yeah, it's a pretty famous photo. The photograph, it's 1987. He has no idea what to do with this. He doesn't have the tech that we have on our computers and all of that mess. He has to send it to Kodak. Kodak doesn't know what to do with the photograph either. All they can do is authenticate it that it was actually a legitimate picture that was taken with a specific type of camera. He gets the picture back, and he sells it, basically from the knowledge that I know about it. The picture is pretty famous if you look up apparitions in photos, but the picture is cursed. That's what the other tours won't tell you. The picture, if handled even in a digital format, like a tablet or a cell phone, you're said to get the symptoms, females, just like the headache, the nausea, the dizziness, like we talked about at the beginning. Pregnant females are probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story. What I ask of all my groups is, don't touch my damn tablet. I'm not going to be the guy where 9 months later, after my tour, I cursed your family. Yeah, I'm just not going to be that guy. This is what I do for a living, and yeah, I believe in all this shit because I've seen a lot more than what I'm telling you about. So, this is the photograph that he took. Your apparition is right here. You can see a woman.
Oh my god, I thought that was like...
Yeah, well here's the... hang on. There's a baby basket next to her. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Now, this is probably another instance where the baby is buried with mom. I can find no records of the baby's birth or death with the church. So I've been through the records, looking, can't find anything. Yeah.
That is the craziest photo I've seen.
Other things that we'll get around Sue Howard Hardy, we'll get the year. So it's a very easy one because it was 1888, so it's easy to get one of those crazy infomercials. Call 1-888-49, and you get the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But 1-888 isn't a common thing that you hear on the radio. It's normally on television. So we will get 1-888 all the time over here, which is very weird to me. We'll get her initials. We'll get, on one night, my word list actually said cold baby.
Oh, God.
Yeah, crazy shit happens on my tours. So, you're like, yeah, that's cool stuff. Why isn't that going on right now? Now, let's get into pirates, because that's why we're here. Are you hearing anything before I move on? Nothing?
No, I just, like 2 seconds ago when I was looking at that, I felt like I heard a scream. It was a little bit terrifying.
A lot of people have been hearing screams on those lately, and I'm not catching it the next day.
No, it was very loud. Like, the volume, I have it relatively low so I can hear you, and then it was a very loud scream.
Interesting. That's been happening a lot lately. I would say, and it's not like a Halloween thing. Like, it's been like the past 3 months. And they're hearing it at the Big Red Barn, like almost every single time. If I hand it to like a young kid between like 10 and 15, they hear a scream at the Big Red Barn all the time there. I'm like, why do they keep hearing it? And then I go and try to find it the next day. Nothing. Happens all the time. Yeah, trying to find initials on certain things because when I get just like 2-word or 2-letter words, I'm like, is that initials? Is that a state? The other thing that this guy will do, you're going to find this one interesting, especially with the look of awe on your face when I told you what happened before. This thing will predict somebody on my next tour. It'll give me their name, their nationality if they're not of a white American descent. So I've gotten like Filipino, and then a weird name will pop up on a spirit box, and it is that person, and I don't know who's on my next tour. I look at that stuff that day, so I don't get names confused. So I'll get like Jose, that's Filipino, the next day, and we'll have Jose and Filipino. This looks like, well, I had IN on there. That's Indiana. That's the abbreviation for that.
Huh.
So if I have somebody from Indiana tomorrow, their name is probably being shown up somewhere. I get it all the time. And it's the weirdest thing. Nationalities and somebody's descent or lineage shows up on here all the time with their name. Just pointing it out. It's the shit I look at and see every day, right? Kind of a crazy job, isn't it? Going from a Walmart manager to this? Yeah, this is definitely a crazy job. So, Pirates. That's the Powder Magazine. You should know exactly what that is. And I'm going to give you a quick history, a little bit more extra, just because this is a very important building to Charleston. So we talked about the Charlestown walls earlier.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it was, right here, running right up alongside the Powder Magazine, basically where that garage is sitting. Those are not crosses on there, by the way. Those are earthquake bolts. Do you know what those are?
No, I thought they were crosses.
No. Earthquake bolts, they're all over town. You've probably seen them. They're probably on the building that you live in. They're basically turnbuckles. They run all the way through the floors or ceilings, depending on how you're looking at it, all the way to the other side. So if you have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, they can turn those turnbuckles, and it'll straighten the building back up and prevent it from getting any further damage.
Oh, wow.
It's bullshit.
cool.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, no. Not if it was like that one.
Yeah. I will tell you, like, the crosses, the reason why I point those out is because that's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in, because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. That's when it was established. I will tell you that the apartment building, the big giant brick building behind it, also has earthquake bolts running it on both sides. So it goes through straight ahead, and then there's other ones that come through, basically riding over top of them like this, through the floors and the ceilings of that building. You just don't notice them because they're lion heads, they're pineapples. It's just part of the Charleston charm. It's all bullshit. It doesn't work. I talk to a lot of Californians, obviously, on the tours, and they laugh at me every time I bring these things up because they're like, yeah, that doesn't work. I'm like, I know, I'm trying to prove that point. But this building, a couple of things about it that you should know why it's here. We talked about the walls that go up here. It was literally locked into the corners of the Charlestown walls on purpose. The reason why is because we're 3 blocks away from the water. And remember that the Charleston Peninsula, a lot of it is man-made around the edges. Like, it was built out. If you look at older maps, there's a lot of waterways that are in there that aren't there now. Mm-hmm. If it gets attacked from a Revolutionary warship or a pirate ship, it's 3 blocks away. It's going to have a hard time making it this far. If it does, the walls are 32 inches thick. If it penetrates the wall, because it's trying to, going to have a hard time getting through the wall, but we're going to pretend that it does. If it goes all the way through the wall and penetrates the gunpowder inside for whatever war we're in, and explodes, remember the walls are 32 inches thick. It's not going to go out, it's going to go up. There's sand underneath those red shingles that is supposed to go up in the air with the explosion and then fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder.
That's weird.
They planned.
That doesn't work either.
No, I didn't think it would, but they tried.
I had another powder magazine on Battery Street, basically, like down around that area, and it's much closer to the water. So it did get hit, the sand went up in the air, but the building burned to the ground. It doesn't exist anymore. This one served in 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. So, I'm sorry she's out here all night. I just didn't notice where she was. But we do get the number 7 here in a couple of different ways. So, now that I mentioned it, you're probably going to get them all the time. First one would be Dr. Ladd. His birthday is July 7th, 7-7. We normally hear doubles of it. John Calhoun, 7th Vice President. He's buried over here. This served 7 different wars. We always need a secondary clue so we know who the hell it belongs to. Again, we have 3 references here. There's another third reference of something else that's about to pop up, but I'll explain that when we get to it. We're here because this building was being built at the exact same time that Anne Barney was coming to this area. So it's a familiar. It's not always like a residual or something like that. She's going to go to places she recognizes. We don't have many buildings this old. So kind of keep that in mind. I said it was the oldest government building, but allegedly the Pink House on Chalmers Street is 1 year older than that. There's just no official record of it. 1708 is where the story begins. I know, I gave you a lot of information, and now I'm about to start a story. So the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you. But 1708, follow me. There's a lot of frickin' twists on this one. She moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. At the time, she comes here with her father and his mistress, who happens to be Anne's mother. Are you with me so far?
Okay.
The 3 of them are running away from her father's angry wife.
Okay, yeah.
You guys got it? Okay.
Yeah.
If I don't slow down on that, it gets all kinds of family tree twisted. So, Anne, the father, and the mistress all come here to...
Sorry, I was gonna get him to like look over there. I don't know. I felt like I keep getting a weird vibe.
Okay.
I saw just like a light over there on that bush.
Like I literally, from near that little column that we came through, like closer to us, I just keep getting a weird feeling.
Okay. Well, keep it over there. Just don't film the lady with the dog. So they land in Georgetown. You know where that is, right? Just north of here. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. So that means he has to send young Anne down here to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat, basically. So she's working. That's why we're here. It's a familiar building. Anne, back home in Ireland, kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants when she was only like 7, 8, 9 years old. Again, pirate lore, we don't know the exact, number, but with a knife to the belly. Very specific. Like take that for what it's worth. We're going to fast forward. Building's done in 1713. Pirates are coming through here in 1715. Anne is stoked. She's stoked because she wants her freedom, just like a man. So she's going to fall in love pretty quickly. First guy she falls in love with, yes, I said first. We're going to go through all three of these fellas that she went through. First guy is James Bonny. James Bonny, obviously, you see where this one's going because Anne Cormac, I'm talking about Anne Bonny, but Dad didn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. So they run away to Jamaica, they got married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny. Kind of get the point. They're all trying to throw the whistle down the alley. They're a little too far away. Now, when they get down to Jamaica and they get married, Anne realizes this is not the Captain Jack Sparrow she was hoping for, because every young lady wants a Captain Jack Sparrow. Now, this guy is a privateer. He's a spy for the British. This is not who she wants. He's a coward.
Oh.
So she falls in love again a few years later. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is literally the guy that they based your Captain Jack Sparrow character off of. So is this Captain Jack Sparrow? Yes, this is the guy she wants. He has his own ship. She wants to be part of it. Can't put a girl on a pirate crew. You guys know why?
Sexism.
No.
Would you put it back that way?
Most people get a little dirty with that, so good job with only sexism. It's bad luck.
Okay.
That's the only reason.
Well, that is sexism then.
Yeah, it is, but it isn't. You have to imagine, I get like 8 and 9-year-olds on here. I got to keep it somewhat PG-13. Yeah, but it's usually the crazy mom that wants to give me they'll rape her. I'm like, really? She's 12. Yeah, so,
Oh my god.
your laugh really echoes through that garage. That's awesome. So, it does happen. But anyway, he makes a deal with her. If you dress like the crew, meaning if you dress like a guy, you can be part of the crew and hide your gender, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. Of course. He's the captain. That's how it's going to go.
Wait, they did that in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
She's okay with this. Why is she okay with it? Because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to keep her away from his angry wife that didn't know about his illegitimate child yet. So she's like, whatever, it's a man's world, I'm a pirate, let's go. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She's female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure it out. So he drops her off in Cuba before she starts the show. These are friends of mine. They'll help you out with the baby. I'll come back for you. We'll figure it out later. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. That is one of those facts that I'll probably never find the answer to. But she's also dressed like a girl. This makes Jack pretty pissed off, because now everybody's going to know that he let a girl on the crew. While she was away giving birth to his baby, Jack captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting to make Jack even more mad. We're on guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew the Calico Jack captured. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become part of the pirate crew. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to know for sure. But the British find out where they are. They send an entire fleet of ships after the one pirate ship. Anne and Mary, to our knowledge, were the only 2 that were not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks. Probably because they didn't know how to use the cannon jet. Not pirates for very long. Now, obviously this is not going to work out. 2 ladies are not going to take on a fleet of ships. So as they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, who's also being arrested, and she says, "Sorry to see you here, but you should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up here a lot. People have heard dogs barking on spirit boxes as we're walking in. Now, the judge, his name is Nick as well. There's 3 different Nicks to this location. Me, this judge, and then there's another judge that used to live on the other side of the powder magazine. Sorry, I almost said pirate house. That's that way. Anyway, too many P's in this corner. The two ladies go in front, trying to save themselves. Then they reveal their gender to the judge, that they're female. He doesn't give a shit. By the way, Calico Jack and the Drunken Pirates, they're already dead and gone 2 days prior. They're gone. So he hung them pretty quickly. But he wanted to see those two valiant men that fought back so valiantly. So, anyway, he doesn't give a shit. He's still gonna hang them. We plead our bellies, was the last thing they said to him. Meaning, they're claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he says, fine, go back to jail. I will delay the hanging till after your pregnancies. Dad is still up here in South Carolina. He has all of his Irish money. He brings Anne back home, bails her out. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We don't know about Mary Reed, so we're going to count her. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. That's it. That's the very abrupt ending to Anne Bonny's tale, because we don't know much about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed dies a year later, 1721, in whatever they die from in Jamaican jails. So most books will tell you that it was fever or some other crazy light bullshit. I'm going to call, it's scurvy, something nasty and gross. So use your imagination. 2 things I left out of here. I'm not going to give a whole slur of questions like what we did over there with the Pinckney Mansion. Mm-hmm. I left 2 things out of here because you need something to get yourself started. Anne Bonny's parents. I know the names. I did not tell you. So that would be the father and the mistress. The other thing is Calico Jack's ship. So that's another good question to have, and we'll see what kind of happens with that. Now, with the motion sensor of the millimeter that I use, Anne Bonny likes to show us her hair color. The only way for her to do that is to touch the antenna, because that's the only way to make it go red. The only time I've ever seen it go red on command has been in this location.
Oh shit, that'd be
now,
cool.
Before we spread out, there's another reason why I give that heated warning. You like my real-time stories more than my historical stories that I'm giving out, so there's a reason why I give that heated warning. Mm-hmm. A year ago, September, I actually brought my entire team back here just like this, 10 people. The kid next to me goes white as a ghost, like he's about to pass out. So I had to pick him up by his armpit, like literally, and so he doesn't hit his head on the ground. His boyfriend picked him up from the other side. We got him over to that brick wall about where that car is parked. We sit him down, get him a bottle of water. He's feeling better. I then tell him the story that I just told you. I spread everybody out to go have fun with their devices, and then they pull me aside and say, Nick, we are 2 transgender males. 2 females dressed like males, just like Anne and Mary in the story on the tour. It all made complete sense to all of us at that point as to why one of them nearly passed out the minute we entered the space. I mean, he wasn't feeling well on the way in, and once we got to my spot, because I normally go about the middle when I have my larger groups, just so I'm not in the way of the other tours cutting through. But yeah, that's the kind of shit that I see. Psychics and mediums normally don't make it past the Pinckney Mansion site. We get some pretty high EMFs in there, as I previously mentioned. And again, they don't tell me that they're a psychic or a medium. They just pass out, I gotta call the paramedics, and then they tell me later. It's like, thanks for letting me know and giving me the heads up. But again, that's probably about half of the psychics that I get coming through here. Most of them I can debunk pretty quickly. So again, this guy, the only way to get a red out of it is to touch it. So here's what happened with this guy, and we're gonna walk around a little bit. I don't know what that weird smell is. You guys smell that?
Nope.
I don't smell anything.
I got a weird smell. I don't know what it is. I was asking because somebody was having a hard time with the spirit box. So I was like, let's go after somebody. Like, Ann, tell us what your hair color was. Like, we got the answer here because that person was standing next to him. I'm like, maybe it's just the space that we're in. So we literally went to another part of the lot, waited, let it kind of reset, and then asked the same question, same answer. A few weeks later, which was just a few weeks ago, 10 times we were standing over by the wall. I'm trying to pack things up, and they're like, Ann, show us your hair color. Ann, show us your hair color.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it was like you could almost see like it would grow and then go away. So somebody was coming up and touching it and then walking away.
Ew.
Yeah, crazy shit. And we were doing it like in intervals where I could say like, oh, that's a pattern. You know what I mean? Like we would wait a minute, 30 seconds or so, ask again. Same answer. It would always answer us. It would wait for us to ask the question. We don't get a whole lot of EMF over here either, by the way. So we're going to give you a few minutes to kind of listen in, and then we'll kind of determine if anybody's here. And if not, we'll wrap it up. And this would, again, if anything, you guys learned a whole hell of a lot about Charleston than any other cheesy campy tour you would have taken before. But this is very light in real time. And I think it's because we've been chatting so damn much. Because you guys are a fun, I don't know, is this a couple thing? Are you friends? Like, what's the deal?
We're dating.
No, he's my boyfriend. Yeah.
What am I supposed to know? I gotta ask. I'm the guy that didn't know I had 2 transgenders on my tour.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Yeah, you don't know much about the people, I guess.
I mean, I know their names,
What?
but I know what they told me. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I want you guys to get a better look at the crosses on here to see how crude they are.
That whole building just looks very gross.
It's actually fascinating. It's a museum.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't go anywhere.
If you need to spend $5 and get out of a heat or a cold, that's a great $5 to spend. It's amazing.
We might have to go in there.
Yeah.
It's like a 30-minute tour. Like, that's it. They tell you about like some of the wars that it served in, all the war uniforms are in there, the artillery. Like, it's really cool. And the way it's built is fascinating because it's on 8 pillars. And it's called a groin vaulted ceiling on the inside because they all come together to one pillar in the middle. Super interesting.
Yeah, it has a very weird shape.
It does. It looks like it's leaning a little bit.
Yeah, it's like sideways too.
Well, they did some, before they turned it into a museum, they did some repairs to some of the shingles at the top, and they saw that the sand that they put there in the early 1700s during its construction was still there and intact. Sand does not disintegrate. The only thing it does is if it's compressed and hot enough, it'll turn to glass.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hot enough here, nor is it being compressed. So it's still intact and it's still loose. It's fascinating.
It just said something about feeling hair. So that's...
I like that. Feeling hair. I haven't looked at my word list in a minute either. Oh, there's the word phone on there. Salt. Oh, that one's interesting. So, told you, there's like a million stories here. And I wait for something to pop up. I'm going to write down feeling hair. But that brick building over there, catty corner from us, so that used to be a restaurant. That was the name of it. I can't remember. But anyway, there's apartments upstairs. And in one of the apartments, there was basically, the doors never stayed shut in there. That's part of the reason why the restaurant's not there anymore, is because it was too haunted. I'd love to buy it and turn it into a paranormal Airbnb.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and have the shop downstairs. That would be the dream, but apparently I'm going to get my master's degree in history. So, anyway, there's a bathroom mirror that fell off the wall and didn't break. I have a lot of experience with other things that are not electronics. Mirrors, to me, are basically portals. So, I had a bad experience with a black mirror. I don't suggest it. Most people have a stigma about Ouija boards. To me, I have several of them. I use them. They're fantastic.
My cousin did. And one day she stopped using it because she said she saw the devil in her closet. So.
Probably somebody posing as a devil. I meant like somebody in the afterlife. Probably posing
Yeah,
as
no.
a little character. Not like our little brother was in the closet. But that mirror was in the bathroom. And I have the word bathroom here. I don't have anything else that says mirror or... I can't remember the name of the damn restaurant. I haven't told that in a while. Because I haven't had anything pop up about it. But again, it's one of those pieces where I have to pay attention to it, kind of see what's going on. But you said feeling hair? Was that what it was? Awesome.
There might have been a word in between it, but it was something feeling hair.
Nice. And I don't expect any EMF spikes here, so when I do get something, it's pretty exciting too. Like, it's definitely not the Pinckney Mansion site where it would be all over the place for no apparent reason. And you are recording, right?
Yep.
Would you do it that way?
Camera likes it. He was trying to keep it personal.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He's fine.
You do the job. I just was like,
It's okay. We're going to do kind of a quick lap all the way around. And
I
then
like the parking lot.
we'll kind of see what goes on and then come back to this wall and we'll get things wrapped up based on whatever you're hearing.
Where did you say you asked about the hair? Like, could you show us the hair?
So, when it happened like that 10 times at one night, this is where I wrap everything up because I can set my bag down. So this is where the last time occurred, but the first time where I ever seen it, we were over by kind of like that tree. That's where it made it a little funny for me, so we kind of went to another side of the lot. So, but yeah, we can take a quick lap and see what you get.
Okay. I just heard like 2 overlapping like women screaming.
Okay.
But it could have been like a song and then like messed up. I don't know.
Even still, those are... So we will get the song "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" that happens here all the time. We're talking about Ann and Mary.
Yeah.
The other piece that we'll get, well, it was a one-time thing. I caught it during the review the next day. It was 2 female DJs talking, laughing, and they say they think we're guys. Like, it was the funniest shit ever. I was like, you got it. It's like, it's always stood out to me. Like, it's just one of those pieces, like, you can't make that up. I don't know what they were talking about, but it was a full phrase. They think we're guys, and they were laughing hysterically. I'm like, you can't make that up. But you said 2 women screaming?
Yeah, and it didn't sound like a song, like, screaming. It sounded like a terrified yell. It's very weird.
It seems like you're getting a lot of Halloween commercials.
Yeah, probably.
Your camera likes to act up in here, by the way. A couple of times, this was last year. It was a smaller group like this, and I'm standing next to the person with the spirit box, and that person was filming me and that other person. A white film went over that ghost hunter person that was on my tour, and their spirit box literally shut off. So we seen the white frame in there, like it was a white film. Spirit box stops working. We get out of the area. The spirit box comes alive and starts, and it's already back on the recording, and there was no splice in the audio at all. It takes 4 buttons to get that thing to be turned on, start sweeping, and then start recording.
Yeah.
No idea.
That's sick.
Twice that happened, and it was I think that one was actually within a month of each other. So haven't seen it since.
It was here?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You look freaked out.
No, I'm fine.
It's the stuff that I talk about that happens on my tours that people get more like a little bit anxious about.
Hear anything?
No, not really. Just bits and pieces of stuff that doesn't make words. So.
Fair enough. All right, let's head over to that wall. Keep recording, keep listening, and then we'll wrap it up over there. It doesn't seem like there's much going on over here. If it is, it's very faint, like feeling hair, a couple of women screaming. Like, it's not like enough, like, hoorah for me.
The hair was pretty exciting after we had the conversation about it.
Right. Maybe she was feeling your hair.
Maybe.
I didn't see yours move all night. So. So if anything, hopefully you got to see different parts of the city. So, where do you live at? Where do you live at?
Me?
Yeah.
Columbia.
So how's that work out?
Well, I met him in Columbia. I went to USC for undergrad.
Like, my wife and I are attached at the hip. I haven't seen her today. She started that new job at Banfield and stayed late, and I had to leave before she got home. I haven't seen her yet. She's driving me crazy. Like, we're literally attached at the hip all the time.
Yeah, me coming down here was not very easy. It's only 2 hours, though, but it just feels very far.
Oh, look at that. Like the word America and provide. You have 81 terms on your list. It's a little bit higher than the average, but it's already 11:15, so I'm guessing we've been out here for, oh, look at that, 2 hours and 8 minutes. Told you, I don't time it. So that's going to definitely give us 5.5 hours worth of media coming back to you. Not to mention all of the reading I'm going to give you. Go ahead and stop your video.